You believe you only use 10% of your brain. You picture witches burning at the stake. You know for a fact you can see the Great Wall of China from space. Every one of those is a lie. And they aren't harmless mistakes. They are phantom facts that distort how you see the world, history, and even your own body. Today, we're not just busting myths, we're exposing the code behind the illusions you've been taught your entire life. The lie visible from the moon. For generations, it has been repeated in classrooms and textbooks as an undeniable truth. The Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible to the naked eye from orbit. It's a testament to human ingenuity, a construction so vast, it defies earthly confines. The origin of this grand idea, however, has nothing to do with astronomy or engineering. It began in 1932 with Robert Ripley's Believe It or Not. The popular cartoon claimed the Great Wall was the mightiest work of man, the only one that would be visible to the human eye from the moon. This audacious statement was made more than 3 decades before anyone had even left the planet to verify it. Yet the world accepted it as fact. Once humanity finally reached the stars, the story began to unravel. Astronaut after astronaut returned from orbit with the same report. From the International Space Station, the wall is practically invisible. China's own first astronaut Yang Liwei confirmed he could not pick it out from the landscape below. While some astronauts have claimed to spot sections of it with powerful magnification and under perfect weather conditions, it requires knowing precisely where to look. The problem was never its length, but its contrast. The wall was built from the very earth it crosses. Its grey stones and brown bricks are a perfect camouflage, weaving into the mountains and deserts like a natural feature. It simply does not stand out. The irony is that far less magnificent structures are easily seen from space. Long, straight stretches of highway and airport runways painted with the stark black of tarmac cut across the natural world with an artificial precision that the eye can easily follow. They lack the grandeur of the Great Wall, but they possess the one thing the ancient wonder does not: a clear, sharp line against the canvas of the earth. A falsehood born in ink and paper managed to circle the globe for nearly a century. If a lie about stone can be this stubborn, what does that say about the myths we prefer to believe about our own history? The most famous lie in American history, for example, isn't about a wall we built, but about a fire that never burned. The fires that never burned. When you picture the Salem witch trials, you see fire. You see figures silhouetted against a blazing pyre, a spectacle of flame and fury. This iconic image is so deeply woven into our culture that it feels like an indisputable fact. We see it in paintings, read it in literature, and assume it was the grim centerpiece of the Salem hysteria of 1692. But this powerful memory is of something that never actually happened in colonial Massachusetts. The historical record tells a colder, starker story. During that terrible year, the trials resulted in 20 people losing their lives. Of those 20 souls, not a single one was subjected to the flames. The town's method was the gallows. 19 men and women were taken to a place known as Proctor's Ledge and met their end by hanging. One elderly farmer, Giles Corey, endured a different fate. After refusing to enter a plea in court, he was subjected to an archaic form of coercion known as pressing. His life was brought to an end over 2 days as heavy stones were placed upon his chest. It was a grim and unusual conclusion, but it was not by fire. The blazing misconception comes from across the Atlantic. Our collective memory has conflated the events in Salem with the far larger witch hunts of Europe, where burning was indeed a common penalty. Somehow, the more dramatic European method was imported and superimposed onto the more famous American event. It's a glitch in our historical memory. So if we can get a fact this famous so completely wrong, what else have we misremembered? This historical sleight of hand didn't just alter how the victims perished, it also obscured who many of them were. The forgotten victims of Salem. The hysteria that gripped Salem is often remembered as a targeted campaign against women, but the legend simplifies a much stranger reality. The net of paranoia was cast much wider, ensnaring a cast of victims far more varied than the legend recalls. The frenzy did not discriminate. While it is true that women made up the majority of the accused, the fear that saturated the village air was an equal opportunity predator. Of the 19 individuals who met their end at the gallows, 5 were men. When including Giles Corey, the farmer who was pressed, the number of male victims rises to 6, accounting for nearly a third of the total. Figures like John Proctor, a respected tavern keeper, and George Burrows, a former minister of the village, stood accused alongside their female neighbours, their gender offering no protection from the wave of accusations. But the boundaries of the bizarre were pushed even further. The court's search for evil was so absolute, it began to cross the species barrier. In a testament to the complete breakdown of reason, the official proceedings of the Salem witch trials include the formal accusation and dispatching of at least 2 dogs. One animal was brought to a final end after a witness claimed it was bewitching her. Another, belonging to an accused man, was seen as a demonic familiar. This is more than a strange historical footnote. It is the ultimate proof of a society unmoored from reality. When the mechanisms of justice can be turned against an animal, it signals a level of paranoia so profound that logic has evaporated entirely. When reason collapses so completely, the mind becomes susceptible to all kinds of illusions, even those created by one's own hands and senses. The razor's deception. It's a rite of passage, a piece of folklore passed down for generations. Shaving your hair causes it to grow back thicker, darker, and stronger. It feels intuitively correct. You shave a patch of soft hair, and what returns feels coarse, prickly, and more substantial. The evidence seems to be right there at your fingertips. The irony is that science has definitively refuted this claim for just as long. Formal clinical studies disproving the myth date as far back as the 1920s, yet the folklore persists, immune to decades of scientific evidence. The truth has nothing to do with the hair follicle, which lies deep beneath the skin, completely unaffected by the surface-level action of a razor. The deception happens at the tip of the hair. A natural, uncut strand of hair tapers to a fine, soft point. A razor blade, however, slices straight across the shaft, leaving it with a flat, blunt end. As this stubble begins to grow out, that wide, angled tip feels coarser to the touch. Furthermore, the newly emerging hair has not yet been exposed to sunlight or chemicals that naturally lighten it over time, making it appear darker. Your brain interprets this combination of coarse feeling and dark appearance as thicker growth, but it's a complete illusion. The most powerful argument against this myth is a simple, logical one. If the act of shaving truly stimulated follicles to produce thicker, more robust hair, it would be the world's #1 remedy for baldness. If our own senses can fool us this easily with something so simple, why do we trust them over a century of evidence? It proves how easily we accept a trick of perception, especially when it comes to the natural world around us, a place where our misconceptions can have far more heart-wrenching consequences. The myth of the human scent. It's a heart-wrenching dilemma. A tiny feathered creature has fallen from its nest, and a piece of ancient folklore holds you back, warning that a single human touch is a mark of doom, a guarantee the mother will abandon her young. We are told our scent is a contamination so potent it will sever the parental bond. This well-intentioned myth, designed to keep us from interfering, is built on a complete misunderstanding of avian biology. The truth is, we give our scent far too much credit. For the vast majority of bird species, the sense of smell is their least developed sense. They navigate the world through exceptional eyesight and keen hearing, not through scent. A bird would be highly unlikely to even detect the faint trace of a human's touch. Even if they could, it would pale in comparison to the sheer force of their parental instinct. These are creatures that build intricate nests and bravely fend off predators many times their size. The notion that this profound hardwired drive would be erased by a faint, unfamiliar smell is simply not how they operate. Abandonment is an incredibly rare event, a last resort in the face of a catastrophic, ongoing threat. Their decision is driven by an overwhelming peril, not by the fleeting presence of a well-meaning human. We imagine our scent holds a strange power over the animal kingdom, but is it that different from how we imagine our own bodies are capable of impossible feats of self-destruction? The impossible ingestion. In moments of high drama, as a character falls unconscious, a hero often rushes in with an urgent command: don't let them swallow their tongue. It is a staple of emergency scenes, a supposed mortal danger that has been cemented in the public consciousness through decades of cinema and television. It presents a terrifying image, the body turning on itself in a moment of helplessness. This has led well-intentioned bystanders in real-world emergencies to believe they must force an object like a wallet or a spoon into the unconscious person's mouth. They are responding to a problem that is a complete and utter work of fiction. The truth is, it is physically impossible to swallow your own tongue. Your anatomy has a built-in safety measure. A strong, flexible tether of tissue called the lingual frenulum firmly anchors the tongue to the floor of the mouth. It cannot be folded back and ingested, no more than you could swallow your own hand. The myth is not just incorrect, it is actively dangerous. Acting on this false information can cause significant harm, leading to broken teeth, severe lacerations, and jaw damage. Worst of all, the object itself can become a new hazard, creating a genuine blockage. Why has this phantom medical crisis become so embedded in our emergency instincts? How can a fictional danger, promoted by cinema, lead well-meaning people to cause genuine harm? It proves the real threat isn't the body turning on itself, but something far simpler we deal with every second of our lives. The airway's true enemy. We've established you can't swallow your tongue. But that doesn't mean it's harmless. The potential for harm is very real, but the true enemy isn't some impossible act of anatomy. It is a simple, silent, and universal force, gravity. When a person loses consciousness, the muscles throughout their body go slack. This includes the tongue, which, without the tension to hold it in place, can fall to the back of the throat. This soft mass of tissue can then form a perfect seal over the top of the airway, quietly and completely preventing a person from breathing. This is the genuine danger. The sound of snoring is a common example of this process in action. The situation is different for a person experiencing a seizure. In that case, the muscles are uncontrollably tense, and the primary risk is from the immense force of the jaw clenching down. In either state, relaxation or tension, the solution is never to force an object into the mouth. The proper response is a simple procedure that turns gravity from an enemy into an ally, the recovery position. By carefully rolling an unconscious person onto their side, you allow gravity to do the work. The tongue will naturally fall forward, clearing the airway. We invented a dramatic, impossible medical crisis while ignoring the simple, silent, mechanical one. Does our need for a dramatic story sometimes blind us to the simple, physical truth? When our understanding of the living body is so flawed, what hope do we have of understanding what happens when it stops? Echoes in the morgue. When life's journey concludes, the story is said to be over. But for centuries, a morbid legend has insisted the human form keeps trying to leave one final mark, that hair and nails continue to grow as a final, faint echo of vitality. It's an unsettling idea that has haunted our stories, suggesting some small engine of our biology continues to run even after the great machine has gone silent. The observation is real, but the conclusion is a complete illusion. The complex hormonal symphony required to produce new hair and nail cells ceases instantly when a person's life has ended. There can be no new growth. What has been witnessed for centuries is not a sign of lingering vitality, but a passive process of transformation. The true mechanism is a simple one: dehydration. After all biological functions have stopped, the body slowly loses moisture. As this happens, the skin begins to shrink and recede. This retraction is most dramatic around the nail beds and at the base of hair follicles. The nails themselves are not getting longer, the skin at their base is pulling back, exposing more of the nail plate and creating the illusion of growth. The stubble on a man's chin can appear more prominent for the same reason. It is a grim optical illusion, a trick of perspective created by the body's quiet return to its basic elements. If we create illusions about the body in its final state, is it any wonder our myths about how it functions during life can be just as persistent? The tryptophan conspiracy. Every holiday season, a single chemical suspect is blamed for the post-feast drowsiness: tryptophan. After a massive holiday meal, a wave of lethargy washes over the dinner table, and fingers are immediately pointed at the main course. The turkey, we are told, is loaded with L-tryptophan, a precursor to brain chemicals that regulate sleep. On the surface, the connection seems logical. The problem with this theory is that turkey is not a particularly unusual suspect. While it does contain tryptophan, so do many other common foods. Chicken and minced beef contain nearly the exact same amount. Pork and cheddar cheese actually contain significantly more tryptophan per serving than the average slice of turkey. Yet, a large chicken dinner or a plate of cheeseburgers has never been saddled with the same heavy-lidded reputation. The turkey is not the mastermind, it's merely an accomplice. The true perpetrator is the entire ensemble of the feast. Foods like mashed potatoes, stuffing, and dinner rolls trigger a large insulin release. This process leads to a physiological downshift as your body diverts a significant amount of blood and oxygen away from your brain and toward your digestive system to tackle the enormous task of processing thousands of calories. We blame a single scientific-sounding chemical instead of the obvious truth. We simply ate too much. Is it easier to accept a complex-sounding lie than a simple, unflattering truth about our own behavior? This desire to offload blame isn't just about food. It's about the very engine that runs our thoughts. The lazy brain legend. It is perhaps the most persistent and inspiring myth about ourselves, that we are all walking around with a superpower locked away. We use only 10% of our brain, and if we could just find the key to the other 90%, we would become limitless. This tantalizing idea was not born in a neuroscience lab, but in the fertile ground of early 20th century self-help movements. It was a powerful marketing slogan for tapping into human potential, a metaphor that was mistaken for a biological fact. Modern science tells a very different story. Using technologies like fMRI and PET scans, researchers can watch the brain work in real time. These scans reveal that even for the most mundane tasks, activity flares up across many different regions. There are no vast, silent areas waiting to be awakened. Even in the depths of sleep, the brain is a hive of activity. Decades of research show that specific functions are localized to different areas. Damage to almost any part of the brain, no matter how small, results in a corresponding loss of ability. If 90% of our brain were truly unused space, most brain injuries would be harmless. The final proof, however, comes from evolution. The brain is a metabolically expensive organ. Despite making up only about 2% of our body weight, it consumes over 20% of our energy. Evolution is a ruthless accountant. It does not tolerate waste. The idea that it would favor the development of a massive, energy-hungry organ that was 90% useless is a biological and energetic impossibility. These weren't just random facts. They are stories we tell ourselves about human achievement, about justice, about the limits of our own bodies. The danger isn't that these myths are wrong. The danger is how easily we believe them. It leaves you with one unsettling question. What phantom fact are you living by right now? The most dangerous myth of all isn't on this list. It's the one you never think to question. If we shattered one of your beliefs today, let us know by hitting that like button. And to make sure you're never fooled by a phantom fact again, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.